Max, it is an honor, buddy. I have been working in radio now for about 12 years, and for like 9 of those years, it was country music, so the paths never crossed.
Hmm.
But in this case right here, though, our history is a little bit similar. I was born and raised in Mississauga, and
Oh,
I used to work Hamilton, my friend. I worked at a construction company called Oasis in Burlington, and all those clientele were at the top of the hill. So, it was fancy, fancy right by McMaster right there. So,
oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So we swung
You're
by.
familiar.
Yeah, we were around your neck of the woods quite often, man. So, like I said, it's an honor and a pleasure, man.
Oh, thank you. That's amazing. Yeah, Tony and I were banished from Mississauga, and
Oh, nice.
obviously, Ben Hamilton. So you're familiar with the QEW
Oh, jeez.
westbound.
Yes, the amount of times I was on the QEW, actually, just where the Skylon Bridge is. When this is years ago, I used to live in Niagara Falls. When somebody, a truck driver, crashed into it, so I was right there for the entire thing.
Oh yeah, that was a big thing.
It was a fun time. All right, so we'll get right into it here, man. But first and foremost, congratulations. So the Big Feelings Cross Canada announcement that was made, you guys touring all over Canada. I mean, it's great to see, like when it comes to, because I've known about you since I was in, like, just outside of high school there. So the fact that it's going from, you're able to perform at places right now like the Saddle Dome, Rogers Arena, all the big places there. So when you guys first started off, like, what was the was it like, all right, we're going big or going home, or did you care about that kind of thing, or is this just all like a fluke and you're happy about it? Like, what's the deal there?
No, I mean it does feel like a fluke. It really does. That we understand how precious it is that we have this job, and we're really grateful for it. But for us, it's always been kind of one step at a time. Everything has happened at a very sort of slow and steady rate, which is good. It allows us to sort of like just do our best in the moment and hope more people show up the next time. That's always been the philosophy. And I remember like, yeah, the first time we ever played in Calgary, we played at a place called the Drum and Monkey for like 8 people. And the next time we played at the Underground, another place that probably doesn't exist anymore, for 40 people. And we just try to make each show better than the last. That's really the only thing we're ever measuring ourselves with, is like, can we enjoy what we're doing more this time than the previous time? And then if you do that, then you let the work guide you. And the fact that we get to play the Saddle Dome is still insane to me. It's just we feel very lucky about it all.
Well, what I always find interesting though is and fascinating as well is like the fact that like you start off with these smaller venues performing in front of 8 people, whatnot, and it doesn't deter you from like wanting to continue. It's like, oh, that was great, like 8 people, that was fun. 40, that's awesome. Then next thing you know, it's like 18,000 people. So I always admire the bands like yourself. It's like, you travel probably all over the place in Ontario to start things off in front of a crowd of 8 people,
Hmm.
and you're like, nope, this will not stop us from doing what we're doing. Like, it was like the joy of performing in front of 8 people almost equivalent to the joy of also performing in front of like the Saddle Dome at the time, or what?
Oh, 100%. So much of a musician's enjoyment has to do with like the vibe of the room and how everybody's playing. And are you happy with yourself? Are you pleased with your own preparation? So yeah, I mean, we played, we were on our last kind of big Canadian run. We did a last minute club show in Saskatoon for like, and it was like we announced it the week of. There's 200 people there. It was just like a cram sweaty thing, and that's sometimes my favorite kind of show.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really have to do as much with the size as it does with just like what's happening in the room and how you happen to feel about it.
So we'll get into the Big Feelings tour, which kicks things off in Halifax on October 18th. So you're performing there, back in Calgary here. So that's going to be taking place in November, obviously with the Rogers Arena and all that. Now, the single that was released named after the tour there, so Big Feelings, which we did get a chance of previewing just the other day with one of the music reps, and then it comes out this upcoming Wednesday at 10 a.m. Which, by the way, I got to say this. 10 a.m. is a weird time to release a song because then the morning show doesn't get to play it right off the bat.
Oh yeah, I think it's a noon thing. I don't know why
10
we're
a.m. our
doing
time.
that. Can't you guys? Yeah, it's noon our time, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Can't you guys just get an early copy? I guess I
I
don't know how that
asked, you know
works.
what? I'm going to send this off to Jasmine, who's your music rep out here in Universal, and
Yeah,
just be
just
like,
tell Max
Jasmine,
that
give
it's
it.
fine. You
Yeah.
can play it earlier.
Okay, good. I'm going to make
Tell
sure to
him.
send this to her. Shelly, don't say anything. Shelly, right now, the rep who's on there. Well, good, because I'm glad, because like I said, like the one thing I always love doing is whenever it's something like this, is getting the morning show to play it. Because you get a lot more
Hmm.
ears than like myself doing like the midday show, playing it when people are at work. So we'll try to push for that there. I'll be remiss if I don't talk about the Disco Lookout Volume 1 album there, which was so
Just go let it. Yeah.
oh, dude, it's
Hmm.
so fun. Like that stuff was. I thought at first that was the album being released. I'm like, oh, they're doing it like this. But
Yeah. We've been playing these covers over the years. and we never planned to record them. People have asked us, when are you guys going to record these? And we always said, we're not going to. And then around December, we had to open in part of our calendar, and we're like, oh, maybe now's the time to do it. And the name Disco Loadout's kind of fun. It's about loading your gear through a venue after you've played, but there's a show later happening at the same venue, and it's a cover band.
Sure.
And you're kind of like, and you're having to maneuver your way through the throngs of people that are there to sing along to ABBA. And you just played your own show, and there wasn't as many people there. So it's sort of humbling. But we're like, we're going to take the turn back. We are going to take the turn back.
Okay, one last question before we get locked out one more time. So the sound for Big Feelings, again, the single that's coming out, what was kind of the idea for the sound for that single right there? Because it's a little bit different than what you've done before compared to what's going to, like, what's kind of the thought process there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really high energy song, and it's really fun to let Tim Cook, our drummer. He's such an amazing drummer, and he's also very patient. Sometimes there's quieter songs where the drums aren't quite as aggressive.
Sure.
But this song, it's like we need people to feel like they're going to run through a wall. And so I think Arkells fans will feel that power that Tim offers. And, I don't know. I think it's like the best of all of us. I'm getting the belt, and Tony put together this great string arrangement, and there's all these glossy synths happening and some cool piano parts. Mike has a big old guitar solo. Nick is actually playing synth bass on the song as opposed to a normal electric bass. So it feels like Arkells in 2024. That's what it feels like.
A lot of people here were saying the same thing. Like, we heard it. They're
awesome.
like, this is Arkells of 2004 kind of thing. This is great.
Yeah.
All right, last question. You still talk to Dan on, right? Or Dan O'Toole?
Yeah, Dan and Jay. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're great guys. Tim's good pals with Dan, especially, and Jay's a neighbor of mine. So yeah, awesome. we keep. Yeah,
I always liked watching on TSN and seeing you guys go on there. That was great. So
yeah, they're very hospitable guys.
Awesome stuff. All right, Max, once again, an absolute pleasure. Because like I said, I knew about you now for years. We grew up close to each other, like pretty proximity wise, like we were close enough to each other. Never got a chance of talking to you before, so this is an absolute pleasure. And everyone told me, Max is great, man. Max is great. So I'm glad that it's true. Max is great. So
I got a question. Are you based in Calgary?
Yes.
How is everyone feeling right now, but seeing Edmonton succeed? Are people conflicted about it?
I'm gonna let Sam. I'm a Leafs fan, so I'm gonna let Sam, who actually is from Calgary, answer that question. So here,
Calgary born and raised, so I can answer this question. Uncomfortable.
Hold on a second. Let me film you. 1 second.
So here's the thing.
I'm asking how people in Calgary feel about Edmonton's success right now.
Oh, it's even worse than that, because half of it is the Oilers are in the final, and of course we'll never hear the end of it because they're going to, if they win the cup, it'll be something they hold over our heads until the end of time. The other thing is Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Bennett are on the other side of it.
Yes.
And they both wanted to leave Calgary. So it's truly like Larry David in Curb, where he's trying to pick between two sides. He's so uncomfortable. He's like, I don't know. I don't know. It could be good or bad either way.
So you just hate both options.
If there was a meteor option, that would probably be the best one, so I don't have to see an outcome,
How Calgary people feel about what's going on.
Maybe I'm a unique take. I don't know.
That sounds about right.
Well, how are you feeling about it?
I'm pumped. There's a Canadian team in it, so that's good enough for me.
You know what? The hype and the amount of coverage and everything is higher than I've seen in the last 5 years, 6 years for sure. So there's a benefit. Yeah. Probably the one benefit for me. I don't know.
Max, if I didn't move the mic from him, he could talk about the Flames and hockey for the next 17 hours. But you're on a time crunch, so we'll let you go. All right, Max, appreciate it, man. All right, brother, you take care.